I have a few, and I can just ask one, and then we can go around.
Mhm.
So, let's see. No particular order. So in my members only, is there a way to alphabetize the headings? I went to manage menu and I don't think it didn't let me move anything unless I was doing it wrong.
Let's see. I could go directly to your site if you wanted, or I could just
Sure.
demonstrate on our demo
I always
site.
I like it when you go to mine. Then I know for sure. Oh, they were looking at ranked choice voting in Richmond. Great.
Okay, so let me hop on
Oh,
over
now
to your site.
Now see, that looks different. Do I have access to that?
That was your user page, so that one would just be available to you when you're logged in.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks different. But anyway.
Okay, so which page?
Members only.
Members only. Okay, so when you talk about the headings, are you talking about these ones here? Or
underneath the members only content that I
okay, all this down here.
Bylaws, video recordings.
Okay, so that is going to be ordered either by making them sticky, but ultimately it is the creation date. So the newer something is, but that is why we added the managed content, or under managed content, we added the created date since we did have multiple suggestions on that. So that makes it a little easier if we're wanting to reorder them.
Okay, so say, how would I do? Okay, like
so
say, yeah.
I would recommend having the managed content on one screen and then having your members only page on the other, just so that it's easy to reference exactly the order you have now. You can also, on your managed content list here, we can we can narrow it down to all published and private items.
Yeah, I know, but how do I say that I wanted bylaws to be the first one? Because that's alphabetically, I don't know if it is the first ones. How would I make that the first one?
So November 2022 is when it was created. So right now it is sitting at the top because that's the newest item you have set to private.
Yeah.
So it would take tinkering if you are going to, let's say, make a new item private. It's going to sit above bylaws.
Well, no, okay. Now, okay. So say I wanted to put, put LWV on top of whatever that other one was. You're saying I have
here,
to do
sorry.
something. Yeah.
So in cases where it's only one or two, it is very easy to use the sticky function. So
I know, but you can see I've got more than one or two.
And you want them to be in a specific order.
If I could, but it doesn't sound like it's worth it.
Well, if you aren't going
I
to
can do it for you, Mary Jo.
What is it? Is that Jennifer? Hi.
Yeah, hi. I can do it for you, Mary Jo. I did it for that other page.
Oh.
The one where you wanted things to be in a particular order. The slide page. It's the same thing.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. That I guess that answers that.
Yeah, Jennifer probably knows it. It'll just take a little extra tinkering if you are adding something new here, but it's a bigger overhaul to try and get it all in order at first. But yeah, make sure that you use this column in the manage content list so that it makes your job easier.
Yeah, someday Jennifer can tell me how she did that. Okay, so all right, I have more questions, but we can go around.
Okay, I did see that there were a couple of questions related to a monthly calendar in the chat. Right now, that option is through like adding a Google Calendar. I haven't heard of another option that's similar and free and easy to use. So we have seen many leagues using that already. I can just go straight to the example of showing that. So I'm going to open my Google Calendar, which is at calendar.google.com, or you could just Google Calendar. But just make sure that you have your Google Calendar open, and make sure if you're trying to use your league's Gmail, make sure that you're logged into that other Google account before you get to this page. So I'm going to first masquerade just so that I can get to our demo site to get this going. So for this case, I am just going to add a new page. You might want to add it to the top of your existing calendar where the header section is. Just depends on how you want to do that. And then one tip here, if you are naming it calendar, it's important to know that if you do save and publish this, that you'll no longer be able to reach your original MyLO calendar, because this is the exact same title as your original MyLO calendar. And so it essentially takes over the URL so that you're only able to see this new calendar and not able to reach the other. It's not irreversible. We can help you get it back, but it does require you to name this page something else. It could be Google Calendar, monthly calendar, calendar one. It just has to be something just different. Okay, and so let's jump back to
So it could be our league name.
Yeah.
So it could just be, okay.
Yeah, it could be your acronym, it could be your whole league name spelled out, whatever you want that to be. But again, if you aren't looking to keep using that aggregate list of events that already comes as your calendar, then go ahead and name it calendar. Just know that you won't be able to reach that without us coming in to kind of disconnect that and then renaming that calendar page. Okay, so we're back at the Google Calendar. With my situation here, I have what is my main calendar under Amaris LeBron, and then I added my office hours calendar. I guess it depends on how you have it set up. I'm just going to first go through like the main calendar. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Okay, it might be under the settings menu. Yeah, under settings, in the top right corner, you'll click that cog. Let me zoom in some. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is actually going to be over on the left-hand side. We want to go to the specific settings for your main calendar. The first thing you'll want to make sure is that the access permissions for events is made available to the public. This will probably be unchecked when you're visiting this at first. So just make sure you have that turned on, and then you can toggle between seeing all event details and hiding some of them. And then once you have it public, I believe it's under Integrate Calendar. This is where you'll have the embed code. You click into there and it selects the whole thing. Just right click and copy. And then coming back over to my MyLO page, which I have titled Google Calendar. Before I paste in the code, I'm just going to give maybe a description of my calendar events. Thanks for looking. Oops. Just something nice for them to see. And then I have an option between adding the code directly into the same body paragraph box, or I could just make my life easy and add it into its own third-party embed code box. If you do go with the option of adding it into the body, you do have to just swap back and forth between the HTML and the WYSIWYG. So sometimes adding a brand new paragraph box here is much easier. And so I just replaced what was there. I highlighted that sentence that appears by default, paste in the iframe code. And then I don't have to do anything else. I mean, one thing, I think it does take up the full page since our page is the 800 width that it says there. But in case you wanted to center things, this is always something that you can use on any widget or code that you're dropping in like this. You enter the beginning tag and then the ending tag. And remember that ending tags always have that /. But that's the pair there in case you ever need to center something. Let's go ahead and just save that. And remember that when you're adding HTML code, you always have to save it as the HTML, not under WYSIWYG. And so here we are.
Maurice,
Yes.
can you please show the piece that you added to the end of that code? So you put in the caret and it said, and you put center, and then there are 2 carets at the end.
Yeah, let me show that. So,
Okay.
the pair always begins with, well, it always ends with the /, but the term center is on both, and then always with the open and closed carets.
Okay, thank you.
I use that one a lot when I'm adding widgets to the sidebar, because by default, everything just left justifies in the site. So the sidebar looks nice, especially if you have, well, I guess with both themes, the purple and gold theme has the search bar that's center aligned in the sidebar, and then the red and blue themes have the search bar and the red donate button that's center aligned. So center aligning whatever goes beneath that in your sidebar looks visually nice. Okay, we'll go ahead and publish that. I don't know if we made a change there, but yeah. So, and then I did want to go over, since this was my main calendar, when I originally created my office hours calendar, which is just an additional calendar, I think, let's see how I made that. Yeah, I just clicked add other calendars, create new calendar. And I think it was very easy steps to get that going. But then once I was trying to embed the calendar, I was hearing from other folks that they were not able to see the events. So the steps to then embed the secondary calendar are just like the ones we took. But what I was missing was my, what is this called? The main calendar. My Amaris LeBron calendar had to be made public, as well as the office hours calendar. So if you're in that same boat where you're, let's say you have a personal calendar that is your main calendar, and you're wanting to add on an additional calendar for your league events, you will need to make your main calendar public. I was trying to get around that because I know every now and then I'll have an event that pops up there and it may be confusing for folks, but that might be, if you have the option to start with a new Gmail address to do this, that might be the better option if you don't want to mix your
Excuse me, this is Ingy. That calendar looks like it's kind of hard to read. If you have any events in there, it looks like it's going to be pretty small.
It is, and there is a way to change the view here in the week, month, and agenda. So it depends on how folks want to travel through that view.
So, but only we as administrators can change that, or a user can't go look at the calendar and change the view, can
They
they?
can, they can.
Oh, they can, okay.
When I'm looking here, this is already public and embedded on my sample site here. And so they can view it exactly as we're viewing it now. And
But you're pretty zoomed in, right?
yes, that's regular.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's gonna be hard to, I mean, you don't, oh, there's an event, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to read. And we can't change the size of the type in the calendar, can we?
Not that I know of. There aren't any settings as far as how to edit the code without just, oh, let's see, customize. Okay, it kind of lets you toggle things on and off. It lets you change the width and height, but we could, use percentages instead of static numbers if you wanted it to be as big as the screen is going to be.
I'd like to look at some leagues that have used this. Can you tell me what they are?
Well, we could just search them on the site.
My league.
Oh, okay. And it's Central Orange County area?
No, it's Orange County Coast,
Yes.
There it
LWV.
is. Is there? Orange Coast?
Thanks, Jen.
Under events, you can see,
Oh,
Under-
awesome.
go up in,
I like the guide image here. And so this is awesome. This is what a full calendar looks like. Mine with the one single example event was not too easy to be able to see.
Oh,
And I
looks
believe,
good.
yeah, the cool thing, you get to have a little blurb pop up of it, and then options to see it on the calendar and copy it to your own. And again, this is all through Google Calendar. So it would be connecting to their Google Calendar as well, if they're logged into their Gmail. And if you wanted other examples too, I was just gonna Google or search on our site, and I'm on the MyLO homepage. I'm looking up Google Calendar. And there will be quite a few options. Oops. Yeah.
Did you have a recording of how to do this before? It seems like we did this quite a few months ago.
We probably do. I don't recall, and I don't know if we got into the customizable settings last time, but if you did want to customize some things before you insert your embed code, I was here under integrate calendar, and I just clicked the customize button under the embed code. And this is what we get here. The title looks like the title of your calendar. So yeah, you could play around with these. The cool thing that I thought was you could set the default view. I mean, everybody is probably looking for that monthly view, but I thought the agenda view looked pretty cool as well. And then I didn't see. It looks like it probably updates automatically because it doesn't look like there's a save button.
If you made the width bigger than what we usually have for the width of this part of the page, would it just force it into that? I mean, I don't know how the CSS is, but I don't know whether you could make it like 1200 wide and it would actually expand to the 1200, or whether it would just be forced in.
I don't believe so. I think it would run off since it's a static number. I mean, we could test it out. I am logged into my sample site here. Yeah, let's test out if it also automatically updates as well. So this was the other option I was talking about. It is all up to you guys. This could also be more confusing to your visitors. Whoops, I forgot to swap that to full HTML first. There we go. And that's straight to published. Yeah, so it does go off a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to use the developer tools really quick that every browser has. This little icon here, toggle device toolbar. And it allows me to see what mobile users would see. Yeah, so it does go long for them as well, even in landscape. So for that, let's see if we can actually edit the code directly, like manually, and we can remove the width. So instead of 1,000 as a set number, let's try 100%. And that's all we wanted to change. So the width is 100%. I don't think it's embedded elsewhere. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that looks aligned with the rest of the content around the page. Let's try the mobile view again.
Can you make that be the calendar view? I mean, the monthly rather than the agenda?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was called. Yeah, because that's the harder one to read.
So the cool thing is that it still does have the pop-up that is very much more visible than the event in this view. And I can see what an iPad looks like. It's a lot better. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, but that could be a nice option, especially if you have the same events down below. It's kind of just two different views of the same stuff. Did anybody have any other questions, or we can talk some more about calendars if you have any other?
So I have a question. This is more of a best practices versus a technical question, but for all of the other leagues on the call, I saw where Mary Jo had her bylaws published under her members only page. Do any leagues ever publish their bylaws for the public to be able to view on their public pages?
This is Ingy in Ohio, and yes, we do, because we purposely put it there because we were being accused of being nonpartisan, and so we put it out there for the whole public, for the public to see.
This is Sandy in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and we have our bylaws on our public website. And we also have our nonpartisan policy, which we have, and we publish that as well to the public.
Yeah, same here.
For the
same here
same
in
reason,
Ohio.
for the same reason that we think it's important that we are transparent about how we operate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Mary Jo, going back to the calendar, I don't know why somebody like me might not want to deal with it, but when somebody has a Google Calendar, is the link to that calendar always, is static the right word? You know, it's always, it'll always take you to the current
It's always living.
living. Yeah, there's another word for it, but
Yeah,
but
but
if you were to have like a note that said for Google Calendar, if you had it on your calendar page and then you had just a note that said for Google Calendar, go to this link. I mean,
Mhm.
you could do that, right?
yeah, because that is also available, that public facing link, where I think it's under that same section under integrate calendar on the settings that we were looking at. There's a public URL and you could just copy and paste that wherever you wanted folks to be able to see it, at calendar.google.com.
Well, I just meant if you didn't want to go through integrating it and all that stuff, and you just had a note that said,
View the calendar here.
yeah, if somebody were maintaining it somewhere else, but then you'd have to make sure it had public only stuff on it. Yeah. So so can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. So, if you're doing an an article, and for some reason you really don't want to have a summary, the event itself kind of speaks for itself. I don't know what example I had, but is there a way to fix it so I don't have a summary? Because it's always looking for something other than moving everything down in the body.
It will always be looking for a summary. So if you don't provide one, automatically it's going to just take the top of the body.
Okay.
So yeah, it just depends on if that is good for you.
Well, no, what I'm saying is sometimes I don't want a summary, but you answered my question, so I'll just work with it. Yeah.
Well, and actually we can test that out, because I'm thinking if you add a space to the summary section, that could be good enough. Let me see if I have any content here.
I wish I could remember the reason why I was asking that, but of course I can't.
No, let's not use that one. Okay. Let's try the about page. So I'm just going to add a space. Let's see if that looks like promoted to the front page. I'll just make it sticky to make it easy. Okay. So this was my main image, so that's why we're still seeing it there, but I added a space so that made it so that it's blank. Is that what you're looking for, or you're just looking to not have?
Well, it looks kind of funny. Yeah, I wish I could remember. I just didn't want to have anything on the front page
About it.
About it for some reason. I don't, yeah.
If that is the case, then it would just take demoting it from the front page.
Right.
If you just,
yeah.
But then if it was about seeing that article, maybe on the articles list, then that is different. We wouldn't be able to remove it. We'd have to unpublish it.
Oh. Well, I guess I was thinking article. You just mentioned an event. Is that what you were just talking about? An event calendar?
The aggregate articles list. But if you remember what exactly it was, then we could get into the details.
Yeah,
about
sorry.
it. No worries. Did anybody else have a question?
I do.
Mhm.
Maurice. We don't currently, and I don't know why I did this, well, just out of ignorance, setting up our website. And I turned off our calendar, and you replaced it, I think, with, because I asked you to, replaced it with a Google Calendar, and then that didn't really work for us, and so we turned off calendar altogether. Do you have an example that you could show me of what the MyLO calendar looks like before I go and do all this Google Calendar stuff?
Yeah, so it is going to serve as a list. I don't have any of my own events here. We're on the sample basic site. But what the calendar does is if you're subscribed to other leagues events, we're going to see them all together. So my events, plus I'm subscribed to Sacramento County. I'm not sure if I have any other leagues that I'm subscribed to, but all of the leagues together would come
Why
in
would
one.
you subscribe to other league events?
If you have leagues nearby, if you wanted to show off their events, if you're involved with their events, any number of reasons. When it comes to like state leagues, especially, they could just be subscribing to all of their local leagues events so that they're showcasing everything that's happening around the state.
Oh, okay. If you wanted to look at an event page, I have a number of events on our page.
And
It does not look like this.
But you are using
Hudson,
the
Ohio. Yeah, Hudson, Ohio.
calendar. Oops, misspelled. Awesome. And
So I
then
don't have any other than our own events. So it's just a listing of that. Don't you love my board meeting picture?
the historic look back. It's very cute.
Thank you.
So that's your calendar page? Oh,
Yeah, when you
coming
hit
event.
calendar, that's what you see.
okay.
Now, I do have a problem, Amaris, is that if you look to the left there under calendar, there's list of events. And that's a, go ahead and click on that. That's a separate PDF.
Okay, and
I can't get that to show on the menu. And I know there's a real easy way to do it. And I cannot remember it.
to be like big, like
Visible.
the
Yeah, to
starred.
be visible.
Oh, do you want
The
this
list
to
of events.
remain
Yeah, it
open?
only appears once you click on calendar.
Yeah,
I
that's
want it to
easy.
show there. Because we've
Gotcha.
done list of events instead of a monthly calendar.
Let
because we
me
gave up trying to
show
do that.
you on the sample basic site. So you'll go to your menu, either through list links or down here in manage menu.
Mhm.
And I think,
I knew it was some easy thing and I couldn't remember it.
so you're gonna edit the parent. So in your case, it would be, you would edit the calendar menu link.
And it's not under about.
Right, but this is my sample site.
Oh, okay.
So you would choose calendar or edit calendar, and then select show as expanded.
Ah, okay. I knew it was something simple. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
But that's an example of what we do. We just list our events, and then we have a monthly PDF that we update. But I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
Were
I
the calendar events like the recurring events that you have?
We don't have recurring. We just keep
Okay.
adding to it
Okay, awesome.
because we add more detail. So
Well, your
So,
board, wouldn't your board meeting be a recurring event?
yeah, I just keep putting it in every month, which maybe is not the easiest, fastest way to do it. I'm not sure how, I guess I don't know how to do recurring events.
With MyLO, we don't have an ability to make recurring events. You can clone an event to,
Right.
make a new version of it. What I have seen from other leagues too is just editing the existing content. But if you're trying to archive or at least keep your trail going, then cloning is a way to
Okay,
go.
while you're at this page, could I digress for a moment and could you go to the administrators menu and go to list of content?
Let
Because
me-
apparently I'm not doing something I should be.
Let me go ahead and masquerade as you so we can see the same.
No, don't go to masquerade because you won't know what I'm talking about.
I do need to go to masquerade before we get
Oh,
to
okay.
that. I don't have access.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then we got to see it the same way. Okay, so we'll head to the manage content.
Manage content.
Okay.
So you can see I have a whole bunch of content and I never delete it. And I think the rest of you guys are archiving it, or what are you doing it?
I keep it too.
Because I have a long list of stuff.
I don't
I-
mind that.
And
I
that's
keep about
fine.
2 or 3 years and I delete the rest.
And folks are just using unpublished to archive. That's the
Yeah.
way to do it.
Mhm.
And where does it go if you archive it?
If you unpublish it, it's still sitting in this list. It's just not going to be, let's say if you had it in the menu, or if you have it linked elsewhere, it's not going to be reachable and it will disappear from the menu. It's only visible to webmasters, your league's webmasters that are logged in.
And that's nice for things for the slideshow that maybe are seasonal or calendar oriented, and you don't have a year on it, or you could edit it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that are pretty like reusable. They're going to
Right.
be nice to just turn on and off.
Right.
So going back to the detailed calendar here for Hudson.
Mhm.
So we use the MyLO calendar, and I can get the little box to highlight it on my home page, but it looked like, yes, on your detail page, how do you get that to be highlighted with the little box around it?
Yeah, so the home page has the highlighting options where it doesn't show up here, but if you go to the home page, you have that option to highlight the item right then and there. But when it comes to the other lists like your calendar, your action alerts, your articles, these are going to need to be made sticky. So you can do it either from a new draft. And it's all the way down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Here under publishing options. You can make it promoted to the front page or sticky, or I mean both. But then once you make that change there, just make sure that you publish the moderation state before saving. The other option is, to do it through your manage content screen. This is where you can choose multiple items. And then under operations, you can make them sticky. You can
And
promote
what's
them
the
to the front
difference
page.
between sticky and promoted to front page?
Promoted to front page will send a copy of that summary of whatever it is, an event, a page, an article. It'll send that to your homepage. So where you have your kind of feed of promoted items under your slideshow and under your body, that's where promote to front page comes in. And then sticky, it is going to apply to every list, like your slideshow, your calendar, your articles, your members only content list, every single list that you can see of content throughout your site, with the exception of the homepage promoted items list. When we talk about the homepage, and I might not be able to see those, but here on the homepage, we don't use sticky, we use highlight. Since we wanted to be able to give additional functions to promote subscribed articles and action alerts, that is why the homepage uses highlight. It does function exactly the same as sticky. There are some specifics when it comes to the front page functions for the highlight that are a little bit further than sticky, but that is something that we can always dedicate to a whole session. Maybe not a whole session, but front page functions are bigger than probably just a 5 minutes.
Okay, so then sticky, all right, so I always thought that sticky meant it would go to the top of a list.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't want my things to all go to the top of the list. I just want them to be highlighted, but I want them to be highlighted on that detailed page.
I see.
Does that,
That
again,
is,
it looked like Hudson has figured out how to do that.
well, it looks like all of those items are made sticky, so that is why
Okay.
you're seeing
Yeah,
the
I
outline.
always get sticky and front page together because I don't know the difference. So I always just click on both.
But then do you have to, okay, but then when you make it sticky, it obviously goes, it obviously will put those in date order then.
Yes.
Yes, so
Yeah, it always
they're-
goes by date. Yeah.
exactly. They're always going to go by date order.
Okay,
And what
Why are there
sticky
two of them?
does is create another kind of smaller group of, let's say, if there were only one of these that were made sticky, then it would hop above the rest of them. And as soon as you make a second one sticky, those two sticky items are going to themselves be in chronological order, but not comparing against the others that are not sticky. So,
okay,
yeah, so that's where you have some
Alright.
control over your calendar, and most any other list except for the front page. Yeah.
okay, well, good. Well, I'm gonna try one right now while you're talking.
Well, Amaris, you were talking about the front page and something seemed not right what you said, because the way you change things on the front page is by going to that first option under administration. What is it?
The manage
Yeah.
front page.
I mean, that's how you move stuff up,
Mhm.
right? Okay, it's just different than any other page.
Yeah, it definitely is different than any other page. And depending on how you have your settings originally,
Oh,
it will behave differently. So it also depends on the number of items you have promoted. Let's see if I have any here.
I
on
think you
this.
can have up to 30, I think.
Yeah. And so I think if you have more than 30, you'll probably just have those items in dark gray. They just won't be displaying, but they'll be part of your list to where you could have the option to just easily rearrange them and put them up top. Yeah, so if you set your number of visible items to something smaller than you have, or even bigger, just saving an order is going to take away the function of the highlight where it moves up as priority item.
See that,
So-
when I think, to me, highlight just means that a box goes around it.
Yeah, so
I
that,
don't know that it means anything more than that, at least on the front page.
So you
so
can
let me
look at
show,
the
let me
first-
show you. I'm gonna reset my settings to default. I clicked on the blue button and let's show what it first looks like. It looks like I already have this one highlighted. Let's highlight the last one here. So once I select highlight, I do need to refresh the page. And we see that it jumped up. And so now I'm going to go ahead and manage front page items. And again, I'm just going to leave it as a bigger window than I have, which is fine, regardless if, like I said, if you save just the same number that you have or less or more, or you rearrange stuff, that is going to take away the movement from the highlight function. So now let's do the same thing where we highlight the last item and refresh the page.
Are you highlighting just by right clicking?
I'm going over the little cog. So I hover over the item first, the content, really anywhere in it. Once you're hovering over it, click on that cog and then select highlight or unhighlight.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, that's going to be available on most any list. So like your front page, your calendar, your articles, your action alerts, your positions. Just hover over. Oh, I don't have any there myself. Well, if they belong to you, it would just take hovering over the item and you'll see the cog in the top right corner, just the same as.
I did not know that. Okay, cool.
But for the home page, I'm with Mary Jo. I just use that menu ordering the first item to decide the order of things. And if you really want to, if you haven't highlighted it, you can just highlight it individually on that page, on the home page.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
think
yeah.
that's the easiest. Because here you visually see the order.
And do you reorder and rearrange items from here, Liz, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
because when I add, a new event.
It goes to the
sometimes
bottom.
Well, yeah, but then and then I have to put it in the right place because sometimes our events, the information comes in at a different order than they actually are by date.
Yeah. So it does depend on the way that you have the settings either saved or not. If you don't have anything saved and you have everything coming in as default and natural, then we're seeing the chronological order where the fresher the item is, the higher it's going to sit. But then once we have an order saved, then that means the newest content is creating its new chronological list at the bottom, since we haven't manually put it in where it should go, or not naturally where it would fall.
I'm not sure what you said, but I know what I do, so I'm not worried.
Well, it's similar to how you're saying when you have your saved front page order and you add or promote a new event and it's sitting at the bottom of your list.
Right.
That's because it's starting a new list.
Right.
Well, not a new list, but it since it doesn't have a place yet set, it's just going chronologically, starting at the bottom.
Right. And speaking of events, it's a little different. Is there a way, because what I've been doing is I'll announce an event, webinar, and then I'll get a link to the recording, and I want to, put that in the article or the event, but I always have to have a date. So I make sure, like in the heading, I'll put recording, and then I'll play along a little bit with the body. But I just thought, well, I ask, do you have to have a date for an event?
It unfortunately does require a date.
Yeah, I figured.
you could link to it, or have your past events prominent if you're doing that often. But yeah, depending on the event date, if it's a date in the past, it's just not going to show up. But let's say,
does. No, I have no problem there. I just promote it to the front page. I'm not
right.
worried about
So
that.
it will still promote
Yeah.
to the front page. It just won't show up on your calendar.
It'll be wouldn't it be in past events?
It would be in past events. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Just wanna make sure. And okay, speaking again of members only events, I don't see how I can can I rearrange private events by date? But why would I want to do, I don't understand that. I don't even know what that question means.
I believe that this list of upcoming members only events is ordered the same as the calendar, where instead of the creation date being the order. It is the event date that
Yeah, I
dictates
don't
the
know.
order.
I don't know where that came from. But so real quick, my past events are not showing for members only. Should they? I don't see why.
I don't think that we have a quick button. I can check to see if that's a list that is kept.
I may have asked you that before. Because it, it gives people that are coming to the page, well, forget that. No, it's members only. So that wouldn't make any sense. But if there were a member that wanted to say, well, when did we do that last year? They might want to look at it. I don't know.
I can see if that is something that is collected and aggregated.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Because obviously it is for regular public stuff. Yeah.
I have a quick question for those of you that do have the Google Calendar coming in. I think that was Orange Coast. If you, I'm guessing that Google doesn't have a way to display private events. And so do you make all of your events member only and for the general public on your calendar?
We designate them with a hyphen. It's in the top part that explains the calendar. It says members only. That's what the asterisk means. And if you click on it, you can't go there unless you're logged in because it's a private event. So you wouldn't see the details.
Okay, so Google has a way to
Oh.
mark an event private.
We just devised it. Yeah. I don't know if you'll see anything private there. There's not very many of them, but when we do have private events, that's how we do it.
What do you guys do for private events? I've been in our league for 5 years.
So-
I don't think we've ever had one.
Let me think. The project planning, maybe. Yeah, I think
Program planning.
Yeah, program planning, right.
Okay.
And we put our program planning meeting is on our public calendar. And then we just mark that it is members only. So each of our events in the title, we try to put members only or public, one or the
Okay.
other. But we do post those as well. So
Okay.
if you
So
want
if
to
you
come, you just have to.
if you look
join.
at the fourth bullet point there, it says members only are indicated with an asterisk.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, that might be something to think about because it shows the vitality somewhat of your league if you show that there's this voter rights meeting and there's an advocacy meeting and I don't know.
And if you want to go to those, then you just need to join us with your dues money.
I think we have all of those are open to the public if anybody wants to join us, but
I think
Yeah.
our board
Board
meetings
meeting.
are members only.
no, we even we invite our members.
Yeah, we invite our
Right.
members, but not
No.
the public.
We actually don't call them members only though, but I should probably check with the board about that.
It probably isn't a big deal if nobody's come to, nobody's come.
But the other thing we use a monthly calendar for, and Amaris, if you scroll up a little bit, we have a pretty active observer corps. So we have a civics event calendar. If you, that's not,
Was it
no.
this one here?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, and we have like 15 cities in our
Wow, yeah.
area. So we post the city council meetings and the school board
Wow.
meetings.
Wow, that's really neat.
Impressive. That's a lot of work.
Once a year I do it, and I always say make sure you check because it's subject to change.
Wow. On your
Wow.
homepage, do you list all these towns that you're serving?
Yeah,
Can we see that?
yeah.
I have a general question. How much of your league
Oh, yeah.
website
Wow.
is
Oh, gosh.
local politics.
How much of our what?
What's on your website about local politics?
It's mostly the Observer Corps who, we have people that go to the city council meetings. I go to one. Well, you don't go anymore. You mostly watch it on Zoom now. And then you file a report, and the reports are published. And we send them to the cities. So we look for certain things. We look for housing and homeless issues. We look for, I don't know if you're familiar with, in California, we have a Brown Act, and we look for violations of that. We'd say, who's attending the meetings, whether all of the city council people are there or whether some are skipping out.
Wow.
I just noticed that, can you read your Observer Corps reports online
Yeah.
to the public or just members?
No, I think it's published to the public. Yeah.
Wow. Ours
So-
are a big secret.
How many members do you have?
We have a couple hundred.
Yeah, wow, it's a big league. Do you have any trouble finding enough people to volunteer?
Yeah. We don't have all our cities covered.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a lot of cities.
It is a lot of cities.
And do you have monthly meetings, general membership meetings?
We have board meetings monthly, but what we do monthly is a speaker event, and they've been on Zoom for 2 years now, so we haven't started meeting in
Oh,
public again.
yeah,
Yes.
we've started meeting in, once a month, but our attendance has been really low. We're not sure what to do
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, we talked about having like a hybrid where you have Zoom going and people can attend in person if they want to. It's pretty technical, but it's really hard to do. And you need a lot of equipment, and I haven't seen it done very well yet.
We do it, but we do it in collaboration with a nonprofit called Cantini that from the McCormick Foundation. So they have the equipment, and it's that because our league tends to be older, when people found out that they didn't have to go out at night when they couldn't see to drive, being at home became very appealing.
Yeah. But I miss it too. We used to do lunch with league, and that's where we do a lot of recruiting and business and meet new members and so on. And I really miss that. I'm looking.
We
to
do
get-
have members meetings, some, but people, when there's a choice, like our book group is on Zoom, when there's a choice, people say, oh, I'd rather just stay home, especially in the winter if there's snow.
Oh, well, we don't have that problem.
You don't have that, but you have rain.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain. That's true.
Yeah.
It's interesting talking about all of our different situations.
I don't know how Maurice is doing. She may have real work to do.
No, you're totally, I love when these discussions get launched.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I find it
I'd love to learn more.
invaluable.
What was
I'd love
that?
to learn more about what other leagues are doing for meetings, because we get 8 people and it's ridiculous because we put a lot of work into it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
We're thinking about doing a survey. Has anyone done a survey to poll their membership?
Actually, we're just talking about doing that as well. Yeah, as far as interests go and getting involved and so on. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and we want to find out why they're not coming to meetings. Is it because they're at night? Is it because they don't like the topic? So I just looked at Survey Monkey, and you're only allowed 10 questions unless you subscribe. So I was a little bummed about that.
You can also try Google Forms if you're looking for a simple one to use, and that's like you could just easily drop the link and people can have access.
Will it tabulate?
Yeah,
It was-
it'll start to save all that on Google Sheet.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll have to check that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a technical question.
Google survey.
Oh, is there? I don't think that I'm not sure. Is there a Google survey?
Well, I don't know if they call it Google survey, but it's certainly.
Yeah, I think it's just through creating a form.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can create the form. It's getting it out there and having people
Yeah.
fill it out and then tabulating it anonymously.
Yeah, and I think you can collect the responses anonymously. I think that's going to be under the settings. Don't know why my
Do they
Thing
just
is
send
not
it to
crazy.
me then and I just get them without their name? Or do they
let's
actually
see.
add up the responses?
So it would be
Has
under
anyone- has anyone
settings.
done this?
We do a lot of forms. I just don't Google survey forms, but I don't do them, so I don't know the nuts and bolts.
All right, I'll look into that.
Flexible.
A
It
lot of
does,
people sure use them though.
you can change, you can do things like if a person answers yes on this question, you can ask them a follow-up question. You can do stuff like that in Google Forms.
Oh, okay.
And there's different styles of question or answer that you're expecting. So under the settings, you just make sure that the collect email address is off, and then I guess not ask any personal questions, and that should keep it anonymous. I would test it out as well if that, is all it
Yeah,
takes to keep it
yeah.
anonymous.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, very nice.
So the technical question I wanted to ask, it has nothing to do with MyLO, but I forwarded an email to my sister who's in Spain right now.
Mhm.
And she said in her text that she loved it because it came to her in Spanish and she could, practice her Spanish. How does that happen?
But you can set, like in your browser, when you're in a foreign country, sometimes it defaults to the language.
Well,
of
maybe
the
maybe
country.
she had it set to that and she didn't realize it, but she talked like,
Possibly. Yeah, it would have, like Liz is saying, it would have been above the email. It could have been the email program she was using, or it could have been the browser.
that knew she was in Spain, and so
just
they
based on her
couldn't-
location.
Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting though?
It is. Yes, it
Technology
is.
is too smart.
That's your every move.
Any of the Google things will translate. If you get any email, they will translate. You just go on the top and it says translate whatever language you want. It's really
Right.
helpful.
But I hadn't chosen anything, but and she hadn't either. So that's but it must have been something intuitive
Automatic.
on the
Yeah,
machine.
it's really easy to do that.
Yeah. And that reminds me that that Google Translate widget, we have it, well, we still have that code. I think Liz uses that one still. So it's kind of the same thing that you would see in the email, the Gmail. Is it LWVIL Wheaton? No, I always get it wrong.
Wheaton, LWVIL. It's one word, Wheaton.
LWVIL. Okay. But this one here, if you choose a different language, that's when it's enabled up top, the toolbar.
Wow.
Oh, I want to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, I can, why don't I just copy and
Does-
paste this now?
Does it do Arabic?
It
Does it?
does.
Wow,
Wow.
very cool.
We don't
And
know
it
what it's
continue-
saying.
Yeah, I have no clue what
You
it's
can't
saying,
join us, you're Arabic.
but it continues throughout the site. And then
Wow,
I
it
forgot about
does,
that.
when you hover over it, tell you what's the original text.
thank goodness.
But yeah.
So
it
that's
looks
a
like
good
it.
article for a newsletter. Yeah.
So is this something that the user can select? So we have
Yeah.
a large Hispanic population, so they could log into our English website and they could set that at the top to translate to
That's what
Spanish.
she's doing right now.
Yeah.
It-
The only thing is that this toggle tool has to be set in your sidebar. So
how-
that,
Oh, well, we want to do that. Huh.
let me go ahead and copy this, what we have here.
Oh,
This is great for, voter service.
yeah. Switch your language. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to copy what we have in its entirety so that I can strip away what we don't need. Oh, okay.
Is there a way to make that like really compact height wise? Because that's a lot of the
The
sidebar.
space in between.
Yeah, just make it, very, very small. Our sidebar is got a lot on it, and I wouldn't want to take up that much room.
I think.
Well, if
I
you have
think so.
Amazon on your sidebar, you'll have some room come February 20th.
What?
Smile Amazon is going away.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
Oh,
My Amazon?
Smile Amazon.
really? Oh,
Oh,
Let's see.
I
Sorry,
see.
I'm still trying to just
I
clean
don't
this
use
up a
that.
bit.
so.
Okay.
ideally for our league, it would just have the switch your language all in one line, and then there would be a box right under that really tight that would just say, select, or that would give you the down arrow and stuff.
But sometimes they sort of force you to have a certain amount of spacing. that you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really
If the
want.
But there was a paragraph mark and then division, division, division. And I wonder if you took out some of those.
I
I'll-
yeah, let's try
I'll
it out.
take a
I did
look.
copy something. So I'm going to just work with the sidebar embed code section. So I opened up my sidebar content. I am going to add it so that it's below my social media. But if you wanted it to be above, then I would just recommend either copying and pasting these into their own paragraph box down here, because that's easier, or switching to the full HTML and then pasting at the top. But let's just go with this one down here. So this is going to be a long code. Well, actually, let me first verify that it works before I drop it in the chat for you guys. So this first is just going to be the widget. I want to first test that that is the correct code.
I think you have this documented somewhere. I certainly couldn't have done it by myself.
Oh no, I
You
did
did it?
something.
Oh,
How do I have it twice?
Because it says select language,
Oh, I see.
it could be, it looks, I added that select language at the top. That's optional. You don't have to put that there.
I think I had it, I did have it in there 2 separate times. There we go. So let's try just that, because that's a much cleaner version of it, if that is. No. Okay.
oh.
So let's try the other portion.
Is it easier to do in WYSIWYG or?
Well, we do have to save it first, since the HTML code isn't yet set. If we swap to WYSIWYG and we swap back, the code has altered a little bit. So
I wouldn't mind if you
Let's
went to
try
my
that.
site and tried to see if there's any way you could tighten it up.
this is partially there. Okay, let's just,
Oh, you got it.
That looks pretty nice. That's pretty small.
this
That's-
text is just bigger than the default. Let's see. That's what it typically looks like, but this is showing up with our MyLO text. So that's why it's a little bit bigger. This is not what we were aiming for, but this is another alternative, I guess. So I can definitely make documentation on this. Yeah, the code is too long for the chat.
But I think you already did, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without, we covered this a year or two ago. I wouldn't have been able to do it just out of the blue. I learned it from you. So,
It might have just been in an office hours session. I don't think that we have
yeah, it might be.
documentation on it.
Wow, okay, if you could send documentation, we would love to have this for our site.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't. Yeah, let me throw something together, because it's very, very simple. As long as you have the code, then it's just the same step as always to, implement third-party code.
It looks like you could even take out certain languages if you don't think there's a need for those. So maybe just some of the major ones.
Yeah, that is true. Here, let me just show you the notepad. So an entire option, just as we were seeing before with center, it starts out with open caret option, and then it ends with open caret / option. And make sure you go from the open caret, the first open caret, to the final
Yeah.
close caret.
Oh, there's some really interesting languages in there.
There's a lot. I think there's over 100 at least, if not more. Yeah, because they're kind of doubled up on each line here. So if you have the time and patience to go through those.
Yeah, I think I'd limit it just to what the Secretary of State uses for voting stuff.
That
There's
is
about
smart.
6 languages.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Very cool, though.
Mhm.
You could tick off the DEI box too.
Yeah.
We did something this month.
Well, that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to try this.
Awesome.
With Amaris's no fail directions.
Hopefully.
I might even have something left over from.
From when
what-
you did it yourself.
Yeah,
Oh, well, let's see. Am I still masquerading? Let's see if we can get rid of some of that space. And sorry, I'm not masquerading, so. Let's see the admin view. Okay, so this, I'm gonna set it to div. No, let's set it all to, it's all set to div. Let me check the HTML. It looks good.
yeah, but you know what? You don't, when you're working with it, that the stuff you pull in, I don't, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I might, when I look at my code, it's only about 10 lines long. I think that gets pulled in, so it shows up in the developer, but it doesn't, it's being sucked in. So I don't know if you can actually change which languages are there.
I see it in the next box, in the next embed
Yeah,
box.
this is the widget here. Oh, and
Oh.
this is different than,
Oh, you're right.
this is the original code.
Yeah, mine is just really short.
So I'll have different, so there's different versions. This is the original code. Let me get rid of this.
Yeah, that's all I have. I
This
don't know
is
what, I think this is getting
original
pulled
code.
in somehow. That's, I don't know if you can change that.
This one you don't have the ability to change, but this one here, I'm not sure why it's like more expanded.
I think you're sucking it in from the site, so you're always getting the most recent. If you suck it in, you're getting the most recent version. You know, like if they add another language or something.
I see. Well,
I wonder if you go to Google Translate and ask for the embed code, you get a chance to say which languages you really
Well,
want. Or
the weird thing about the fact that we have this code is that Google Translate was discontinued some years ago. So I'm surprised that this is working, and is still working after all these years. I think it was like 2015 or something, as far as it being its own site. Like it is part of the Google search, I believe now, and you know, it's its own app, but they used to have the widget, and they discontinued it. So I don't think that we can get those kinds of changes straight from Google, but this looks like the next best option. I don't see anywhere in this long code where it may be pulling from MyLO, because there isn't any mention of our URL.
Why would it pull from MyLO?
Well, I just wasn't sure what you were getting at when you said
Well, if
they
you
would
look
be
at
able to
the-
get the latest.
Well, I'm trying to find the thing that I had, the BB edit, whether it was just, I think it was just this. Here,
This was what we just pulled from your site, just
Yeah.
the code itself.
just translate, Google. Okay, so this, the source here for the script is / translate. So that would make it seem like it was on Google, I mean, on MyLO somehow, right? The source equals / translate.
It would be coming from Google.
But where does Google get mentioned here in this script source equals?
Translate.google.com.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's where it's getting sucked in, I think.
But I see what you're saying. As far as if they were to add any new languages, then this original code would be the way to go because it's always going to stay up to date. But since they're possibly, well, they continue the actual Google Translate since we see it across other places. But since they haven't continued the widget, I'm not sure if we will see any updates. So there may not be huge downsides to this. And again, if you are looking to just have a few languages, then that's going to be probably the only option here to be able to limit stuff. But yeah, Liz, I see what you're saying as well. Like if they get updates to, let's say, the Spanish translations, then you may not get them through this code. But again, I'm not sure how likely they are to be updating that.
I'm going to have to leave because it's going to get dark and I need to get my walk in.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good place for us to stop as well. But we can.
I just want to say that just for fun, I did go and Googled Google Translate. And so, you know, it brings something up and then it tells you to put your website in.
Mhm.
And I did. And somehow it popped up, the Google Translate is on our website. I mean, it's not going to stay there, obviously, but
Oh,
anyway,
I see.
kind of neat.
Yeah. It's definitely a very easy to use tool. But yes, I will get some documentation going on how to implement this widget.
thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks, thanks. For the next session, we're going to be trying to catch up with our old schedule. So it's going to be February 10th for the next session.
Okay.
So 3 weeks away this time.
And Annemarie, I noticed when I was looking for the link for this call, you had answered Liz, I think, on something. I don't know what it was about, but is it anything you want to share?
Oh yeah, I think it was Jan. We had gotten that that recommendation done where we wanted the LWV US articles to open in a new window or a new tab. And it was just a realization that the homepage doesn't send them to a new tab. So I added that note.
So if you had it under articles.
If you had it under articles, yeah, it was going to a new tab.
But also any subscribed, I would like those in a new tab. Like I subscribe to LWV California as well. So any subscribed, if it's going to a different website, it should be a different tab. I know it's on MyLO, but
yeah, we'll look into that and see what that entails. How does anybody have any other feelings on that, or you agree? Or
I agree. That's kind of the rule that we use, is if you're going to a different website, it goes in a different window so that people can come back to our window.
yeah, people are getting lost, especially since both LWVC and LWV US look just like our website because they're using the MyLO version of it, and it looks just like ours.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I will add to that ticket, and again see what that all takes.
Thanks, Annemarie.
And if everybody's done, Maurice, I just want to say thank you so very, very, very much for answering my toddler-like questions about computer terms and trying to get us set up on Google Workspace. I really, I had no idea what all those terms were that Google was throwing at me in that sign up. And, you know, where's your this, where's your that, where's this? I'm like, I have no idea. So thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Our league is incredibly grateful.
No worries. I had to brush up on that stuff myself because we have a very interesting situation being MyLO users. Since your domain is elsewhere, you have a certain stack of items that is not typical for everybody on the
internet. I wrote it all down in a spreadsheet and put it on our drive now, so no one will have to go through this again.
Awesome.